March 9, 1945. Somewhere in the shattered remains of Cologne, Germany, Master Sergeant Thomas Kellner lies motionless in the rubble of what used to be a toy shop, his rifle barrel resting on a pile of broken porcelain dolls. Through his scope, he watches a window 300 meters away. The window is dark, empty, but Kellner knows better. A German sniper has been operating from that position for 4 days, killing 17 Allied soldiers with precision that borders on supernatural. Every shot is a headshot. Every kill happens at distances exceeding 400 meters. The German fires once, maybe twice, then vanishes before counter-sniper teams can triangulate his position. The Americans have tried everything. Artillery strikes that reduced 3 buildings to rubble while the sniper relocated and resumed killing from a different angle. Smoke screens that provided temporary cover but couldn't last forever. Flooding the street with troops hoping overwhelming numbers would force the German to reveal himself. He killed 6 men in 90 seconds during that attempt. Each shot perfectly placed. Now it's March 9th, and Kellner has been staring at that window for 11 hours without food, water, or movement. His legs are numb, his back screams with pain, and he's no closer to locating the German than he was yesterday. The sniper is a ghost, a legend, a force that exists only in the moment of muzzle flash and the subsequent death of another American soldier. What Kellner doesn't know, what nobody in the 3rd Infantry Division knows, is that 50 meters behind his position, a 61-year-old German toymaker named Ernst Vogler is putting the final touches on a mechanical rabbit. The rabbit is 20 centimeters tall, constructed from scavenged clockwork mechanisms, fabric scraps, and broken toy parts. It cost Vogler 8 hours of painstaking work in a freezing basement workshop. When wound properly, the rabbit will hop forward in irregular patterns for approximately 30 seconds, moving with enough erratic motion to resemble a living creature caught in the open. Vogler is not building toys for children anymore. He's building bait, mechanical creatures designed to exploit the single universal weakness of every sniper who ever lived: the instinct to shoot at movement, the compulsion to take the shot when a target presents itself, the inability to resist when something alive crosses your field of fire in a combat zone where anything moving might be an enemy. Tonight, when darkness falls and American and German forces settle into their nocturnal stalemate, Ernst Vogler is going to deploy 6 mechanical rabbits, 2 clockwork cats, and 1 absolutely magnificent mechanical dog into no man's land. He's going to wind them up and send them hopping, crawling, and walking directly through the kill zone where 4 different German snipers have been operating. And when those snipers see movement, when they instinctively track the targets through their scopes, when they make the split-second decision to fire at what appears to be small animals wandering through the ruins, their muzzle flashes will reveal their positions for exactly the amount of time Master Sergeant Kellner needs to kill them. This is not standard military doctrine. This is not an approved counter-sniper technique. This is an elderly German toymaker who spent 43 years building mechanical animals for children, now using that exact skill set to hunt the hunters. The Americans don't know he's helping them. His own neighbors would execute him as a traitor if they discovered what he's doing. But Ernst Vogler lost his grandson to a sniper 3 weeks ago. Not an Allied sniper, but a German one who shot the boy for trying to surrender to American troops. And Vogler decided that night that if he possessed any skill that could be weaponized against the fanatics still fighting for a Reich that no longer existed, he would use it. The mechanical rabbit sits on his workbench, its clockwork heart ticking softly. Vogler picks it up, tests the spring tension, and nods with satisfaction. The movement pattern is perfect, erratic enough to seem alive, consistent enough to draw attention, exactly wrong enough that a sniper watching through a scope will recognize it as an animal, but won't be able to resist the target. Kellner shifts position slightly in the rubble, trying to restore circulation to his left leg. He doesn't see Vogler in the basement 50 meters away. Doesn't know that by midnight tonight, the German sniper he's been hunting will be dead. Killed not by superior marksmanship or better tactics, but by a toymaker's mechanical rabbit and the oldest trick in warfare. Making your enemy believe they see one thing while you prepare something entirely different. The city of Cologne in March 1945 is a vision of apocalypse. Allied bombing has reduced 90% of the city to rubble. The magnificent Gothic cathedral still stands, damaged but defiant, surrounded by square kilometers of destruction. 37,000 buildings have been destroyed. The population has dropped from 750,000 to 40,000. Those remaining are mostly elderly, infirm, or fanatically loyal Nazi Party members who believe the promised miracle weapons will still reverse Germany's fortune. American forces entered Cologne on March 6th after bitter fighting. The Germans are conducting a fighting withdrawal, using snipers and small units to delay the American advance, while the remnants of regular army units retreat eastward toward the Rhine. The tactical situation is chaos. No clear front lines. Buildings change hands multiple times daily. German soldiers in civilian clothes mix with actual civilians. Snipers operate independently, targeting officers, medics, radio operators, anyone whose death will disrupt American operations. The sniper Kellner is hunting operates from the Ehrenfeld district, a shattered neighborhood of apartment buildings and small shops. He's killed 17 men in 4 days. Intelligence suggests he's a veteran, possibly Eastern Front, where German snipers perfected their craft against Soviet forces. His fieldcraft is exceptional. He never fires from the same position twice. He never takes unnecessary shots. He understands angles, concealment, and exactly how long he can remain in position before counter-battery fire arrives. Kellner is 3rd Infantry Division's best counter-sniper operator. 29 years old, from a small town in Montana where he learned to shoot hunting elk in mountains where 600-meter shots were standard. He's been in Europe since Normandy, has 32 confirmed sniper kills, and a reputation for patience that borders on supernatural. He once waited 73 hours in a destroyed church to kill a German sniper who'd pinned down an entire company. But this German is different, better, more careful. Kellner has been studying his patterns for 4 days, analyzing every kill, mapping positions, calculating angles. The German is methodical. He shoots only when he has perfect conditions. He targets men who expose themselves for more than 3 seconds. He never shoots at bait, never falls for decoys or dummy positions. It's like fighting a mathematics problem. Pure logic with no emotion, no mistakes. Kellner shifts his focus to another potential hide. A collapsed apartment building 400 meters northwest. Good sight lines, multiple escape routes, overhead cover from aerial observation. If he were the German, that's where he'd shoot from next. But he's thought that 17 times before and been wrong 17 times. Behind him, in the basement workshop, Ernst Vogler begins assembling his collection of mechanical animals. The work area is lit by a single candle. Vogler can't risk more light. The Americans patrol nearby streets. If they found him working, they might think he's signaling German positions. They'd shoot him before he could explain. The Germans are equally dangerous. Any civilian helping Allied forces faces immediate execution. Vogler was born in Cologne on December 3, 1883. His father owned a toy manufacturing business, Vogler and Sons, established in 1857. Ernst learned the craft as a child, spending hours in the workshop watching his father construct mechanical toys, wind-up trains, clockwork horses, dancing bears, and singing birds. Toys for wealthy families, precision instruments disguised as playthings. He attended technical school, studying mechanical engineering with focus on clockwork mechanisms and spring-driven automation. His 1899 thesis examined the relationship between spring tension, gear ratios, and movement duration in mechanical toys. It was brilliant work, technical and precise, read by approximately 7 people and filed away in a university library. Vogler took over the family business in 1923 after his father's death. The company survived the economic chaos of the Weimar Republic by pivoting to affordable toys, simpler mechanisms, lower prices. Vogler became expert at extracting maximum functionality from minimal materials. A mechanical rabbit that in 1890 might have required 60 individual components and cost a month. Wages could be built in 1930 with 22 parts for the price of a dinner. When war came in 1939, the factory was converted to war production. Vogler and Sons stopped making toys and started making fuse components for artillery shells. Ernst supervised production but hated every moment. His workshop, where generations of children's toys had been created, now produced instruments of death. He complied because refusal meant concentration camps, but he never stopped thinking of himself as a toy maker forced into weapons manufacturing. His grandson, Klaus, was drafted in 1944 at age 16. The Wehrmacht was desperate, conscripting children to fill divisions that existed only on paper. Klaus was assigned to a Volksgrenadier unit, poorly trained troops given obsolete weapons and sent to delay Allied advances. He survived the Battle of the Bulge, survived the retreat across Germany, and died on February 17, 1945, 3 blocks from his grandfather's house. Klaus tried to surrender. American troops were clearing the street. Klaus stepped out of a building with his hands raised, weapon discarded, clearly attempting to give up. A German sniper shot him through the chest, not because Klaus was a military threat, but because surrender was treason. The sniper was enforcing Nazi ideology that demanded every German fight to death. Vogler found his grandson's body 4 hours later. The Americans had moved on. Klaus lay in the street where he'd fallen, 16 years old, killed by his own side for trying to survive. Something in Ernst Vogler broke that day. Not his mind, but his neutrality. He'd spent 5 years trying to stay uninvolved, trying to survive by keeping his head down and complying with whoever held power. His grandson's death ended that calculation. If German snipers were killing children for trying to surrender, then those snipers were the enemy. Not the Americans fighting their way through Cologne, but the fanatics who believed a lost war justified murdering their own people. Vogler decided he possessed exactly one skill that might matter. He could build mechanical devices that moved in convincing patterns, and snipers, by nature and training, shoot at movement. The first mechanical animal took him 3 days to construct. A cat, built from a broken alarm clock, fabric scraps, and wire. The mechanism was simple. A wound spring drove a series of cams that moved 4 legs in an alternating pattern. Wind it up, place it on the ground, and it would crawl forward for approximately 20 seconds, moving with jerky, unpredictable motion that resembled a wounded animal. Vogler tested it in his basement, watching the mechanical cat crawl across the floor. The movement was good, erratic enough to seem alive, slow enough that a sniper would have time to track it. He carried it outside one night and placed it in no man's land, then waited to see what would happen. At 0340 hours, a single rifle shot echoed across the ruins. Vogler heard the bullet strike his mechanical cat, shattering it into components. Then, 6 seconds later, a heavier rifle shot from a different location. American counter-sniper fire. Then, silence. Vogler waited until dawn and recovered what remained of his mechanical cat. The German sniper had shot it through the center mass, exactly the shot you'd take against a small, moving target, and that shot had revealed his position long enough for an American sniper to return fire. Vogler didn't know if the American had scored a kill, but he knew his concept worked. Over the next 2 weeks, He built 8 more mechanical animals: rabbits, cats, dogs, even a mechanical crow that flapped its wings while hopping forward. Each one was carefully engineered to move in patterns that would attract sniper attention. He deployed them systematically, placing them in areas where German snipers operated, winding them up and watching from a distance. The results were remarkable. German snipers shot at 70% of his mechanical animals. The movement was too tempting. In a city where anything moving might be an enemy, where shooting at actual animals could reveal positions, but shooting at humans was the mission. The mechanical creatures occupied a psychological middle ground, not threatening enough to ignore, just alive enough to seem like legitimate targets. And every time a German sniper shot at one of Vogler's creations, his muzzle flash revealed his position. American counter-sniper teams were well-trained and equipped with excellent optics. A muzzle flash at night gave them everything they needed. Vogler's intelligence suggested 6 German snipers had been killed or wounded after shooting at mechanical animals. He had no way to confirm this, but the sniper activity in his neighborhood decreased noticeably. Now, on March 9th, Vogler is preparing his most ambitious operation. He's identified 4 German sniper positions through careful observation. One operates from a church tower 420 meters east. Another works from a collapsed factory 500 meters north. A third hides in the apartment complex Kellner is currently watching. The fourth is mobile, moving between 3 different positions in the Ehrenfeld commercial district. Tonight, Vogler will deploy 9 mechanical animals simultaneously, placed in overlapping fields of fire, where at least 2 snipers can see each creature. The plan is simple. Wind up the mechanisms, place them in position, and let the snipers reveal themselves by shooting at targets that aren't real. The American counter-sniper teams have learned to watch for this. Vogler made contact with an American patrol 3 days ago, approaching them cautiously with his hands raised and a mechanical rabbit as proof of concept. The Americans were suspicious initially. An elderly German man carrying a toy rabbit, claiming he could help them kill snipers, seemed like elaborate bait. But Vogler demonstrated the mechanism, explained his technique, and offered to coordinate his deployments with American counter-sniper operations. A lieutenant named Marcus Chen listened carefully, examined the mechanical rabbit, and made a decision that violated about 40 different regulations. He authorized Vogler to continue operations and assigned Master Sergeant Kellner to provide overwatch. Kellner still doesn't know Vogler exists. Chen decided that telling a sniper that a German Toymaker was baiting targets might complicate the operation. Better to let Kellner think he's just getting lucky, that targets are presenting themselves through normal patterns. Kellner would shoot at revealed positions regardless of how they were revealed. At 1700 hours, as winter darkness settles over Cologne, Vogler climbs out of his basement carrying a canvas bag containing 9 mechanical animals. Each one is wound and ready, springs tensioned, mechanisms tested. He moves through the ruins carefully. An old man navigating terrain he's known his entire life, but which now resembles an alien landscape. The first mechanical rabbit goes into position at 1730 hours, placed in a courtyard 70 meters from the church tower. Vogler estimates the German sniper in the tower has a clear line of sight. He winds the mechanism fully, sets the rabbit on a pile of rubble angled to hop toward open ground, and triggers the release. The rabbit begins hopping forward, its movement jerky and unpredictable, exactly like a frightened animal trying to cross dangerous terrain. Vogler retreats immediately, taking cover behind a collapsed wall 30 meters away. He watches the tower through binoculars he's carried since the First World War. At 1736 hours, movement in the tower window. Brief, barely visible. The sniper is acquiring the target. 50 meters away, Kellner sees the same thing through his scope. Movement in the tower, just a shadow, but movement. He shifts his aim point 6 centimeters left, compensating for the angle, and waits. His finger rests lightly on the trigger. Not pulling, just ready. The German sniper in the tower is Hauptfeldwebel Karl Brandt, 34 years old, Eastern Front veteran with 173 confirmed kills. He's been fighting since 1941, survived Stalingrad, survived Kursk, survived the long, catastrophic retreat across Ukraine and Poland. He's exhausted, malnourished, and aware that Germany has lost the war. But orders are orders. His commanding officer, an SS officer who believes in miracle weapons and final victory, has instructed all snipers to continue operations indefinitely. Brandt sees the rabbit through his scope. His first thought is that it's a genuine animal, one of thousands that now inhabit Cologne's ruins. His second thought is that animals don't move in perfectly straight lines through sniper zones. His third thought comes too late. By the time he recognizes the movement as suspicious, his training has already made the decision. Movement in the kill zone. Acquire target, fire. The Mauser K98K rifle recoils against his shoulder. The rabbit disintegrates into clockwork components. And in that half-second of muzzle flash, three things happen simultaneously. Kellner sees the flash in his scope, tracks it to its source, and fires in one smooth motion. His M1903 Springfield rifle sends a 30-06 round across 314 meters of shattered cityscape. The bullet enters Brandt's scope, shattering the optic and deflecting slightly upward into the German's left eye. Brandt is dead before his brain processes the impact. A second American sniper, Sergeant James Rodriguez, positioned 400 meters south, also sees the flash and fires. His round misses Brandt but strikes the stone window frame, fragmenting and sending stone chips into the tower space. If Kellner hadn't killed Brandt, Rodriguez's shot would have forced him to relocate. Vogler, watching through binoculars, sees both muzzle flashes from American positions. He sees Brandt's body slump forward in the tower window. One sniper down, 3 remaining. Kellner doesn't celebrate. He works the bolt on his Springfield, chambering another round, and resumes scanning. Training and experience have taught him that sniper kills are never certain until confirmed. Men survive headshots. Optics shatter and save lives. You fire, you assume hit, you keep searching for threats. But part of his mind is processing what just happened. The rabbit that triggered Brandt's shot. Kellner had seen it hopping across the courtyard seconds before Brandt fired. His first assumption was a civilian's pet, escaped and wandering. But the movement pattern was wrong. Too regular, too directed, and now that he thinks about it, this is the third time in the past week that small animals have appeared in no man's land immediately before German snipers revealed positions. Kellner doesn't believe in coincidence. Someone is baiting the Germans. Vogler is already moving to position 2, the collapsed factory 500 meters north. He places a mechanical cat in an alley where the northern sniper should have visibility. This mechanism is his finest work, built from a pocket watch, fabric from his wife's old coat, and wire salvaged from destroyed vehicles. When triggered, the cat crawls forward while its tail twitches, creating complex motion that resembles a living creature. He winds it, sets it, and releases. The cat begins crawling. Vogler retreats to cover and waits. The German sniper watching from the factory is younger than Brandt was. Gefreiter Hans Müller, 19 years old, drafted from Hitler Youth 6 months ago. He's had 4 weeks of sniper training, been given a rifle, and told to kill Americans. He's terrified, exhausted, and desperately wishing he were anywhere else. He's fired his rifle twice in 4 days, missed both shots, and spent the rest of his time trying not to be seen. Müller sees the cat through his scope. His first emotion is relief. Finally, a target he might actually hit. A cat, not moving fast, maybe 50 meters away. He can make this shot. He needs to make this shot. His squad leader, a veteran who survived the Eastern Front, has been increasingly critical of Mueller's inability to score kills. Mueller aims carefully, compensates for distance and wind, and squeezes the trigger. The cat explodes into components. Mueller feels a moment of satisfaction. He hit something, proof that he's not completely worthless. Then 3 rifle shots impact around his position in rapid succession. Stone chips and metal fragments fill the air. Mueller throws himself backward, abandoning his rifle, scrambling for the factory's rear exit. He's not hit, but his nerve breaks completely. He runs, not toward German lines, but perpendicular, into ruins where neither side controls territory. He'll hide there until darkness, then try to reach civilian areas and disappear. He's done fighting. Kellner was one of the 3 shooters who fired at Mueller's position. He didn't have a perfect shot. Mueller was too deep in the factory's darkness, but he saw the muzzle flash and fired at the likely position. From his angle, he can't confirm whether anyone was hit, but the target hasn't fired again. Rodriguez, the second American sniper, has a better angle. Through his scope, he watches Mueller running through the ruins. He could take the shot. Clean kill at 430 meters. But Mueller has abandoned his weapon, is running away from battle, clearly fleeing rather than fighting. Rodriguez lets him go. Shooting fleeing soldiers is technically legal but leaves a bad taste. The war is almost over. Let the kid run. Vogler observes all of this from his position. 2 snipers neutralized, 1 dead, 1 fled. 7 mechanical animals remaining. 2 confirmed German snipers still operating. He moves to position 3. The apartment complex that Kellner has been watching all day. Vogler knows this sniper is the most dangerous, the one who's killed 17 Americans with perfect precision. This is the operator who never makes mistakes, never takes unnecessary risks, never reveals himself unless conditions are perfect. Baiting this sniper will require something special. Vogler reaches into his bag and retrieves his masterpiece, the mechanical dog. He built it over 6 days, using components from 3 different clocks, a broken phonograph, and metal salvaged from destroyed vehicles. The dog stands 35 centimeters tall, approximately the size of a terrier. Its mechanism is complex. 4 independently moving legs, a head that turns left and right, a tail that wags, and a movement pattern that combines forward motion with random directional changes. When wounded and released, the mechanical dog will walk forward for approximately 40 seconds, periodically stopping and turning as if searching for something, then continuing. The behavior pattern is disturbingly lifelike. Vogler has watched it operate in his basement and felt genuine affection for the machine, which is absurd because it's just gears and springs. But the illusion is powerful. If anything will tempt the careful sniper in the apartment complex, it's this. The German sniper in the apartment is Oberschütze Franz Weber, 41 years old, police marksman before the war. Weber is not a Nazi. He's not ideological. He's a professional doing his job with methodical precision. He's killed 17 Americans because that's the mission. He takes no pleasure in it, feels no guilt. They're enemy soldiers. He's a German soldier. This is war. Weber has been watching the same courtyard Vogler is now approaching. Good fields of fire, multiple covered routes for mechanical deployment. Weber has noticed the mechanical animals. He's not stupid. The 3rd time a small creature appeared in no man's land and drew sniper fire, he understood what was happening. Someone is baiting German snipers with mechanical targets. Weber has been waiting for the next deployment. When it comes, he won't shoot at the mechanical animal. He'll watch where it came from, find the person deploying it. That's the real target. Some civilian resistance fighter stupid enough to think he's clever. At 1810 hours, Weber sees movement in the ruins southwest of his position. An elderly man, moving carefully, carrying something. Weber tracks him through the scope. The man stops, crouches, and places something on the ground. the mechanical dog. Weber watches as the old man winds the mechanism, sets it, and triggers release. The dog begins walking toward the courtyard, moving with disturbingly realistic behavior. But Weber ignores the dog. He keeps his scope on the old man, retreating toward cover. Range approximately 280 meters. Wind minimal, angle slightly elevated. Weber adjusts his aim point, compensates for the angle, and prepares to fire. His finger tightens on the trigger. Kellner sees it all through his scope. He's been watching the apartment complex for 12 hours, knows every window, every shadow, every potential firing position. When Weber shifts to aim at Vogler, the movement is microscopic, but Kellner catches it. Scope glint. Just a flash of failing light reflecting off glass. But enough. Kellner doesn't have time to think. If he's wrong, he wastes a round. If he's right and doesn't shoot, the old man dies. His decision is instantaneous. He fires. The Springfield round crosses 340 meters and strikes the wall 15 centimeters to Weber's left. Stone fragments pepper Weber's face. He flinches, loses his aim, and in that half-second of disruption, Kellner fires again. The second round enters the window and strikes Weber's rifle, shattering the stock and deflecting downward into Weber's right shoulder. The impact spins him backward. His rifle clatters to the floor. Weber scrambles for the apartment's back room, clutching his shoulder, knowing he's been outplayed. His shooting arm is destroyed. He's out of the war. Vogler, hearing the shots, realizes what happened. The sniper in the apartment had targeted him, not the mechanical dog. And someone, one of the American snipers, had saved his life. He lies flat, not moving, barely breathing. After 2 minutes, he crawls backward into deeper cover. The mechanical dog continues walking through the courtyard, oblivious to the violence surrounding it. Its clockwork mechanism drives it forward, head turning, tail wagging, a perfect illusion of life created by an old man's skilled hands. Kellner watches it through his scope. He sees it stop, turn, continue. He understands now. The animals are bait. Someone is deploying them deliberately to draw sniper fire, and whoever it is just nearly died doing it. Rodriguez sees it too. Through his scope, he watches the mechanical dog complete its programmed route and wind down, stopping mid-step as the spring tension expires. "That's the damnedest thing I've ever seen," he whispers. At 1830 hours, Vogler deploys the remaining 6 mechanical animals simultaneously. 2 rabbits, 2 cats, 1 more mechanical dog, and a mechanical crow he built as an experiment. He places them in overlapping patterns, wound and ready. Then triggers all of them within a 90-second window. The effect is surreal. Across 300 meters of ruined cityscape, mechanical creatures begin moving through the darkness, hopping, crawling, walking, flapping, an invasion of clockwork life in a dead city. The 4th German sniper, operating from the commercial district, sees the mechanical crow. He's been watching the operation, has seen what happened to Brandt, Mueller, and Weber. He knows these are mechanical targets. He knows shooting at them reveals positions. But the crow is different. It's flapping its wings, hopping in short bursts, moving with chaotic energy that suggests malfunction rather than careful programming. Maybe it's genuine. Maybe an actual wounded bird. The thought process takes 3 seconds. In that 3 seconds, his training overrides his caution. Movement equals threat. He fires. The crow disintegrates. And 6 American riflemen fire simultaneously at the muzzle flash. The German sniper dies instantly, struck by at least 3 rounds. Silence settles over the district. Vogler remains in cover, listening. No more shots. The remaining mechanical animals wind down, stopping in various poses of arrested motion. The operation is complete. Kellner maintains his position for another 30 minutes, watching for additional threats. When nothing moves, He carefully extracts himself from his hide and makes his way to the American command post. Lieutenant Chen is waiting with Rodriguez and 4 other snipers. Kellner reports his kills, describes the mechanical animals, and asks what the hell is going on. Chen explains. The elderly German Toymaker, who's been baiting snipers for 2 weeks. The coordination with American counter-sniper teams. The 9 mechanical animals deployed tonight, and the 4 German snipers neutralized as a result. Kellner listens in silence. When Chen finishes, Kellner asks, "Where is he now?" "Unknown. He doesn't maintain regular contact. Shows up when he wants to deploy mechanisms. Disappears otherwise. We have no way to reach him." "Someone nearly killed him tonight," Kellner says. "The sniper in the apartment complex had him dead to rights. I got lucky with an intervention shot." "Lucky for him," Chen agrees. "And lucky for us. Those mechanical animals have revealed more snipers than conventional counter-sniper operations did in the previous month." The next morning, March 10th, Vogler returns to his basement workshop. His hands shake slightly as he lights a candle. Delayed shock from nearly dying. He sits at his workbench, surrounded by broken mechanisms and spare parts, and allows himself 2 minutes of trembling fear. Then he returns to work. The mechanical crow is destroyed. 1 rabbit is damaged but repairable. The others function perfectly. He begins planning the next deployment. His grandson Klaus would have been 17 next week. Vogler builds a mechanical rabbit in his memory. The finest work he's ever done. Perfect movement, reliable mechanism, beautiful craftsmanship. He'll never deploy it. This one stays on his workbench, a memorial to a boy who died trying to survive. Over the next 3 weeks, Vogler deploys mechanical animals 19 more times. Combined with American counter-sniper operations, the efforts neutralize 14 additional German snipers. The Ehrenfeld district, previously a nightmare of sniper activity, becomes relatively safe. American forces advance with fewer casualties. On March 24th, organized German resistance in Cologne collapses. The remaining Wehrmacht units withdraw across the Rhine. The fanatics, the SS officers who believed in final victory, either die fighting or escape into chaos. The war continues elsewhere, but Cologne's battle is over. Vogler emerges from his basement on March 25th to find American military police establishing order. He approaches them carefully, identifies himself, and asks to speak with whoever coordinated counter-sniper operations. They're suspicious but locate Lieutenant Chen. Chen meets Vogler in the ruins of what used to be a cafe. They sit on broken chairs, drinking terrible American coffee, and discuss what happened. Chen wants to know how many mechanical animals Vogler deployed. Vogler estimates 47 over 3 weeks. Chen wants to know how many German snipers were killed as a result. Vogler doesn't have exact numbers, but estimates at least 20. "You saved lives," Chen tells him. "American lives. Allied lives. Probably German civilian lives too, since those snipers were shooting anyone they considered disloyal." Vogler nods. He doesn't feel heroic. He feels tired. "What will you do now?" Chen asks. "Rebuild my workshop," Vogler says. "Make toys again. Real toys for children, not weapons disguised as rabbits." Chen writes something in a notebook, tears out the page, and hands it to Vogler. It's a letter, written in English, explaining Vogler's assistance to Allied forces and requesting that he be treated with consideration by occupation authorities. "Keep this," Chen says. "If anyone gives you trouble, show them this letter. It should help." They shake hands. Chen returns to his unit. Vogler walks back to his basement. The war ends 6 weeks later. Germany surrenders on May 8th, 1945. Europe begins the long process of rebuilding. Ernst Vogler reopens his toy shop in 1947, working from a new location since his original building was destroyed. He makes mechanical animals again: rabbits, cats, dogs, birds. Beautiful craftsmanship, perfect mechanisms, sold to children who have no idea that identical devices were once used to hunt snipers in ruined streets. He never discusses the war, never mentions the mechanical animals he deployed as bait. The American military records mention him briefly, a German civilian who provided assistance to counter-sniper operations in Cologne, March 1945. No details, no recognition. Master Sergeant Thomas Kellner returns to Montana after the war. He never forgets the mechanical rabbit that hopped through no man's land, the old man he saved with a hasty shot, or the realization that sometimes the most effective weapons aren't designed by engineers or generals, but by craftsmen who understand human behavior better than military theory does. Vogler dies in 1962, 79 years old, surrounded by his mechanical creations. His grandson Klaus would have been 33. In Vogler's workshop, on the highest shelf, sits a mechanical rabbit that never saw deployment. Perfect craftsmanship. Built as a memorial. Never wound, never released, never used as bait. Just a toy, sitting in silence, representing everything its creator learned about precision, patience, and the knowledge that sometimes saving lives requires building things that draw death toward themselves so others might survive.